Hari Om, Om Shanti. Greetings to all the spiritual seekers. Let's chant a few shlokas or shloks from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna talks about Mahaa Kaal. He says that he is the call. That means whatever he creates in this cosmos, he sets an expiration date on it. When we prepare goods in our world for people to use, you actually set expiration date on each and everything. People are afraid of using things when the date passes, the expiration date or nears the expiration date, lest it be dangerous if it is consumed or the thing is torn or no longer work. Whatever God creates, also He sets a specific timeline on it to expire. He also sets expiry date on us, on all the bhutas, 8.4 myriad forms of life forms. He sets, he stamps that expiration date. But we do not know that when our turn comes to expire. That is the truth. Timeline given to each and everyone in our world is highly important. It is a God's gift to each and everyone that we have a specific timeline to be present on this planet. We may live for 20 years, 25 years, 50 years, 100 years, or beyond that. If you make your body fit. But you see, the death of each and everyone is pre-written in His records. When it comes without your notice. It may come at any time, any moment. We may not take in the next breath. We will not be able to take in that external oxygen in. That's it, you're gone. You're done with it. That is why, as it is the God's gift, the timeline given to us, we need to use the time very cautiously, very carefully, and put it to good use. Make the best use out of it. Thinking that this is only the opportunity as a human being to realize our first goal, to realize our truth, and to realize the truth about Paramatma, that super soul. That's the main goal, as we have been actually referring to it in every divine production. In this divine production, I would like to put emphasis on the birth of the greatest devotee, Bhakta Prahalad, who became the greatest devotee in those days. And he never listened to his father, Hiranyakashipu, who always posed as he was the God and Vishnu was not the God. He was so arrogant. He got a boon from Lord Brahma that he should not be killed during the day or night by a man or woman outside of the palace or inside of the palace, by not with any weapon as well. He's got such a immortality boon that he should not be killed either by human beings or animals. a very difficult one to fathom even to Brahma. Anyway, he actually granted that boon of immortality with all those conditions. But Lord Krishna had to worry about it as to how to deal with this when it comes to punishing the arrogant demon Hiranyakashipu, the father of his greatest devotee. You see, his brother Hiranyaksha plunged the whole planet into the ocean because he wanted to rule all over the worlds, all over gods and goddesses due to his arrogance. In the form of Varaha avatar, he killed him and re-established Dharma and retrieved the planet from the ocean so that it stays afloat. And then you see Prahalad's grandson also had to be subdued due to his arrogance. In Vamanavatar, Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu actually neutralized him as well. So, in order to actually show his dominance, Hiranyakashipu always wanted to kill his own son. He subjected him to many torments, physical torments, mental torments. He was given the poison of snakes. He was put in a hot cauldron of oil. He was crushed under the feet of elephants. He was pushed off of the cliffs. But every time this happened, Lord Vishnu had to rescue him, protect him all the time. And he was protected due to his unalloyed bhakti towards Lord Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu, as you know, he got frustrated, and one day he asked Prahlad, "Show me, my son, you are God in this pillar of the palace." And then Hiranyakashipu he actually hit the pillar with his mace, the strong mace. All of a sudden, the Lord appeared in the form of Narasimha avatar, half human and half animal, that lion. And then, in order to be in compliance with the boon given to Hiranyakashipu, Lord Vishnu used his nails, fingernails, to rip his guts out and then killed him. That's how Hiranyakashipu actually gets moksha, because he was killed by the Lord himself. You see how Lord Vishnu had to plan to circumvent the boon given by Lord Brahma. Every time this happens, Lord Vishnu is the one, he rescues all. And he actually goes around the boons given by Bola Shankar and Brahma. But anyway, it does it very cleverly. So all in all, Mrityu, that death itself is the Lord, as he creates, maintains, and also he annihilates from time to time. He renews the process. But you see, the time given to us is a boon. That's how we have to make use of it. Use it rightly for our own benefit, to progress materially, as well as balance, treading the path of spiritualism in realizing yourself and realizing the Paramatman, that super soul. Do not waste your time. Do not be attracted by the worldly subjects and objects. Do not attach to your sense organs. Do not let them get attracted to the worldly objects. They're not going to give you anything. You are only gratifying your senses, your ears, eyes, nose, tongue, and the touch. Nothing else. You've got to think about your internal Dehi, that Kshetragna, that Purusha, that Atma, what it craves. It craves true peace and bliss and serving at the lotus feet of Paramatma, Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva, Lord Rama, and any of his incarnations. That's what our Atma craves while it resides in a human body. It will not happen when it resides in a god or goddess. They are not liberated. See, they are administering this cosmos to us under the dominion of Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva. But they are all one and the same God, the Spirit. Only one Spirit. We are all part of that Spirit. That means we got only one singularity. Everything is consciousness, Atma. All the bodies, all the material things, movable, immovable, the material aspect of all those, they're all subject to modification from time to time. You would see only permanency in the Atma. It is eternal, never gets any modification whatsoever. It remains neutral all the while. And it is never born. It is never born as we take birth, having some shape, some color, and all the qualities, etc. Atma does not have it, but it gets individualized because God is testing you as an individual Atma in an individual body. For you to pass the test and get that moksha, that final liberation to be with Him, very few number of people get enlightened and finally reach His abode of peace and bliss. So remember everything God creates as an expiration date. And for this whole cosmos to expire, it takes one Mahaa Kalpa, which runs 311 trillion and 40 billion years. This is the age of one Brahma in human years. That many years, we will not have any future, no manifestations whatsoever. Everything is with the Lord in his Brahmand, in an unmanifested form. But that many years have to elapse again for him to manifest all the things that one can see with the naked eye. So let's go to some of the Bhagavad Gita shlokas. How those shlokas have relevance to the timeline that God actually stamps timeline on him. Okay, so so we have been saying this during this divine session, that we need to make the best out of our timeline that we have at our disposal, as time wears down on all the material things, big or small. We ourselves have expiration date on our bodies. That's how you do. So the right things in your life, you must do all the doable things, the things that are allowed to be done according to the Vedas, but you do them in moderation. You've got to be temperate in eating, recreation, performing your prescribed duties, going to sleep, waking up, and all of them. When you also perform yoga sadhana, internal pranayama, all the miseries will be vanished. So you can actually get the reference or reminder for you to get engaged in the internal pranayama when you go through a few number of shloks or shlokas from any chapter in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so प्रह्लादश्चामि दैत्यानां कालः कालयतामहम् प्रह्लादश्चामि दैत्यानां कालः कलयतामहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम् वैनतेयश्च पक्षीणां मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम् वैनतेयश्च पक्षीणाम् Lord Krishna says, among the Daityas, among the Daitya demons, I am that Bhakta Prahlad. I am the mathematician in keeping track of the timelines and stamping that expiration dates on each and everything that I may create in this cosmos. I am that Kalayata Maham. And also he says, amongst wild animals, the carnivorous, I am that lion, very powerful one. And you see, lion does not waste its time. It shows its power over other animals. It disciplines them. It makes them work for him. Very powerful one. And gets whatever meals that he is interested in. Very cleverly uses its time without even hunting by himself. The others go for hunting and get the meal for him to his cave. Mruganam cha mrugendroham vainateyascha pakshinam. I am also amongst all the sacred birds. I am that Garuda. And Garuda is my vehicle. He is the one takes me from place to place without wasting any time. Mm, mm, mm. युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः आ, आ, Lord Krishna suggests that make use of your time very cleverly and properly. Do not waste even a single second. Do everything on time. Discipline yourself. See, this is the importance of time. When you are performing your prescribed duties, you have to strike a balance between your duty and your domestic responsibilities toward your family. And when it comes to eating, eat moderately. And when it comes to recreation, also do it very moderately. Do not go on vacation for like 6 months or 3 months, neglecting your work. Just take a week or two to get energized for you to focus on your prescribed duties. When you go to sleep, have proper sleep, 7 to 8 hours, minimum 6 hours, but do not sleep like for 10 hours, 12 hours, or 15 hours. You become very lazy. It becomes very difficult for you to get out of the bed and take care of yourself. And when you wake up, do your duties with undivided attention, one at a time. Do not stay, awake until midnight or beyond midnight. Some people do sleep after midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. That is actually going to pose a lot of problems for you. Your health will be degraded. You cannot focus on anything. On top, don't you forget to perform your internal pranayama, that yoga sadhana. When you do yoga sadhana, accommodate that into your schedule. Have a slot of time in the evening and morning to perform yoga sadhana. Thereby, all your miseries will be gone because you are doing your internal pranayama to make your body fit to accommodate your individualized Atma, and all your bodily systems work well, efficiently. Herein, Lord Krishna brings in actually very beautiful shlok. This shlok actually explains about the Kurukshetra war, as to how the war has an analogy with a river full of dangerous creatures. So the Kurukshetra war is compared to a river that is full of poisonous creatures, sharks, crocodiles, alligators, waves, storms, whirlpool, all types of difficulties. When the war took place between Pandavas and Kauravas, Pandavas, with the help of Lord Krishna as their guide, as they completely surrendered to him, Lord Krishna was a boatsman. He was at the helm. He was a helmsman. He was like a coach or a navigator to Pandavas. In fact, Lord Krishna single-handedly won the war. He just used Pandavas as instruments to teach the humankind the morals and how to re-establish dharma on the planet. Herein, when a river full of all these vicious and poisonous creatures, as it is compared to Kurukshetra war, Bhishma, Drona, they were actually big banks to pass, to jump over, defeating other soldiers and any other Maharathis. They were like huge walls to break. Jayadratha was the water in the river, and he was from Gandhar. Shalya was like a shark, and Karna was like a big waves in the stormy river, and Kripacharya was the current of the water. And we talked about Karna. Karna was like Velakula, that means huge waves like. How to get past waves when you're sailing in a boat. Ashwathama and Vikarna, they were like alligators. And Duryodhana was like a whirlpool, the main guy. And you see, Pandavas, with the help of, boatman Krishna, under his guidance, they had to get past all these obstacles to come out victorious from the war. And they did it successfully. It is all due to Lord Krishna. So let's go to the shlok here. Bhishmadrona tata jayadratha jala. Bhishmadrona tata jayadratha jala Gandhara nilotpala. Shalyagrahavati krupena Vahanikarnena velakula. Shalyagrahavati krupena Vahani karnena velakula. Ashwathama vikarna ghoramakara. Duryodhana vartini. Ashwathama vikarna ghoramakara. Duryodhana vartini. Sotirna khalu Pandavai rananadi kaivartaka Keshavaha. Sotirna khalu Pandavai रणनदी कैवर्तिकः केशवः आ आ They became highly victorious with the help of Lord Krishna in defeating all the enemy Maharathis, and then re-established Dharma on the planet and ruled the country for several years. The next stanza, uttered by Lord Krishna himself. कालोऽस्मि लोकक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्ता ऋतेऽपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे ये अवस्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योद्धाः ऋतेऽपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे ये अवस्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योद्धाः आ आ आ I am that Mahaa Kaal in destroying all the worlds in the universes of this cosmos. I will make sure that nothing exists for 311 trillion and 40 billion years, that Mahakalpa. In spite of this, having known this knowledge from me, if you do not get ready to fight, without your participation, I am going to annihilate all the enemy Maharathis, soldiers, to re-establish Dharma. Arjun, listen to this with undivided attention. Even without your participation, I will do it. It's up to you whether to participate or run away from the battlefield in dishonor. Again, referring to the timeline. What actually has a timeline? It's only the manifested things have timelines. Unmanifested things, they do not possess any timeline. Although subtle things like mind, intellect, chitta, and your ego, all of them are subtle. They go along with your Atman energy encoded onto it individually. They go with them. But you see, that Purusha, that Kshetragna, that Atma never gets expired. Here in this stanza, Lord Krishna says, Nasato vidyate bhavo, Nasato vidyate bhavo, Na bhavo vidyate satah, Na bhavo vidyate satah. Ubhayorapi drustantostvanayos tattvadarshibhihi. Ubhayorapi drustantostvanayos tattvadarshibhihi. As to the expiration date, only asatya, that means the material energy is asatya, mithya, Our bodies are mithya and asatya. They have expiration date. They're impermanent. They're subject to modifications. Whereas satya lives forever. There is no expiration date at all. It endures all the timeline from Mahakalpa to Mahakalpa. Always there. Only the body gets perished. It cannot stand the test of the time. That's what it means. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Shri Vijayodbhuti Dhruvane Tirmatirmama Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Shri Vijayodbhuti Dhruvane Tirmatirmama Wherever there is Lord Krishna, the spiritual master, and wherever there is the ambidextrous archer, superior archer, Arjun, you always find abundant opulences, wealth, that Shri, victory, power, unlimited power, social justice, economic justice, and political justice. For all of us to be healthy and leading a life of peace and bliss. But you see, one needs to make use of one's God gifted time in a proper way. For all of us to become like Arjun and get the qualities of that spiritual master, Lord Krishna himself, you gotta make use of the time granted to you by the Lord. That's how important time is. So let's make use of it. Get the proper knowledge. Perform your duties, the worldly duties. Karmanyeva adhikaraste. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Only perform your duties. That's the right you have, but not to the fruits of your actions. Do it for Him, for His pleasure. No attachment. You may think, if I don't attach to the fruits of my action, why should I do this work? Yeah, there is the secret. The fruits of your actions should not be the driving force for you to perform your actions. That's why do not forget, do not be attached to not doing your work. Attached to doing your work, but not to the fruits. Take action. That's the central message from Bhagavad Gita. And perform your internal pranayama. Thus, perform your internal pranayama, followed by getting engaged in meditation by focusing on your bhrukuti on top of the breath and intense fix of gaze right in your bhrukuti, the third eye chakra, the Krishna consciousness, right there, or Christ consciousness. Once you do that, you are enlightened, seriously. But you see, it needs abhyas, that practice. Without practice, you cannot get perfection in getting realized about your truth, your own truth. Then you are a few inches away from the abode of peace and bliss, that Paramatman's abode, right in your Sahasrara chakra. There is no need to go on a pilgrimage outside of your body. You can traverse the same pilgrimage without traveling, without risking anything. All in all, you have to accommodate into your time schedule, everyday time schedule. You need to accommodate all these things that we talked about. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Shwasti.